If you're someone who's still struggling to get funded and you don't want to keep wasting money on blowing funded challenges, then you'll want to listen to what I'm going to share with you in this video. And so in this video, I'm going to show you what the actual problem is as to why you keep failing to get funded, why you're not trading profitably and unable to get payouts. And then I'm also going to give you the solution to this problem so that you can actually begin to trade profitably, get funded, and potentially start making payouts. And so I want you to think about something for a second. Does this relate to your trading? Does this sound familiar? So you're at the charts and each week or each trading day, you're chasing losses. You're missing moves. So you might potentially analyze a setup. You have a trade idea that looks good, but it goes off without you. And then you're kicking yourself. It's annoying. And I've been there before. You're over trading. You're simply just taking positions that you know you shouldn't in hindsight. You look back after you've taken the trade and you're kicking yourself like, why did I take that trade? Why didn't I just sit on my hands and avoid that low quality setup? So if that does sound like you, and that's something that you are doing, then that is your problem. The problem you have is that you are not patient. You are failing to be patient with your trading. And that problem, the problem of lacking patience, is the main reason as to why you are struggling to pass those funded challenges, you're struggling to trade profitably and actually struggling to get payouts, all because you're lacking in patience. You're not being patient enough. And so it's all well and good saying, okay, well, you're not being patient. You're probably thinking, what do I need to do? What is the solution to this? And this is what I'm going to be talking about in this video and helping you to improve and solve and overcome. So you're aware, from what I've just gone through, you're aware that you are making these mistakes. You're over trading, you're chasing losses, you're missing moves. Okay, so it's clear to see that it's patience that you are lacking in your trading. And that is the main problem as to why you are struggling to get funded. So what is the solution to this? How can you improve your patience so that you can go on to begin to trade profitably, get funded and start making your payouts? And before I get into the solution to this, I just want you to think about something for a second. I want to give you an analogy to help you understand what I'm going to be sharing with you. So let's say you're going over to meet a friend. You have a meal booked and you're taking the train and you're meeting a friend to go out for a meal, whatever, 5-10 minutes away, but you've got to take the train, okay? Just think for a second. You're meeting this friend, you've got to take a train, but let's say you don't actually know what train to take. What's going to happen? So you're going to get to the train station, you're going to, one, jump on any train you see, or you might miss the train you're meant to be taking because you don't actually know what train you're supposed to be on. Or you're going to end up chasing trains. So you're going to miss a train and then you're going to start running after it. And obviously it's not going to end well, is it? You can't chase a train. You can't, once the train has left the station, it's gone. And so this sounds very, very familiar to your trading, or at least I think it does. Okay. That analogy I've just given, you meeting a friend, you needing to catch the train to go meet your friend to have that nice meal with them. But because you don't actually know what train to take, you're faced with all these problems. You're running after the train, you're missing trains, and you don't actually know how to get there. So you don't know how to get to your end result, the end goal of meeting your friend and having some nice dinner. And so now look at your trading. If you don't actually know what trades to take, isn't it safe to say that, well, then you're going to struggle to be patient, you're going to chase trades because you don't actually know what you're waiting for. You're going to overtrade because, again, you don't actually know what you are waiting for. And so this brings me on to the solution to the problem that you have of lacking patience and as to why you can't get funded due to your lack of patience. And the solution to this is to truly understand and know exactly what setups you should be trading. And so you're probably thinking, well, how do I do that? What does this look like? Well, you need to have a clear process. And again, this is from my own experience. And if you're wondering, well, why should I listen to you? You can go check out my YouTube community posts where I post my payouts, screenshots, certificates of my trading, where you can see all of the results that I have achieved and the payouts that I've achieved. And so you need to know exactly the process, or you need to know the exact process you're following. You need to know exactly what trades you need to be taking. And just before I go into this and break it down, if you didn't know, I teach my strategy, my entire supply and demand strategy completely for free, which if you just click the link in the top of the description, you can sign up and you can watch the webinar that I put together for you completely free and learn everything. I don't hold anything back. You can learn my entire supply and demand strategy that I used to scale to multiple six figures in funding. But if you don't want to do that and you want to do it on your own, what do you actually need to build a system, or what parts go into building a strategy and actually knowing what trades to take? Because what I've highlighted there is that the problem you have, and the reason why you can't get funded, you're not trading profitably, is due to your lack of patience. You're having all these problems of overtrading, missing trades, hesitating. And then the symptoms of that, or the problem really behind that, is because you don't know your strategy. You don't have a solid system and you don't exactly know what trades you need to be taking. And so what does that look like then? Okay, well, when building a system, again, you can just learn my own by clicking the link in the description. It's completely free. You can learn my entire supply and demand strategy. But first of all, when building a system and building a system that you can trust to actually know what trades you need to take, you need to first understand your entry model. Okay, what time frame you're going to be entering on. And I spoke about this in my previous video. You need to know the time frames you're entering on, your risk management, and a clear set of rules that indicate to you that it's time to take a trade on your specific entry time frame, which is just one time frame. So you need an entry model. Okay, you also need to know where you're going to be entering from, which again, you can learn all for free in my strategy. And so secondly, you need to have your risk management dialed in. You need to know how much you're risking per trade. You need to understand where you're positioning your stops. You need to understand how you're going to be managing your trades. So when will you move to break even? Will you take partial profits on your trades? How will you manage your trades when you're actually in a setup? These are things that you need to understand. You also need to know what pairs you're trading. So you can't just be trading every single pair. You need to know what pair works best for your strategy. Okay, and this is all done through back testing, collecting data on your edge. You need to also understand when to trade. So this all comes down to that analogy I talked about missing the train. You're not going to get to your friend and have a nice meal if you don't know what train to take. Same with trading. You're not going to get the end result of becoming profitable, getting funded, making payouts if you don't know when to trade, which is all part of the solution of improving your patience. Okay, so you need to know when to trade. You need to know when to be at the charts. And this all comes down to understanding your edge and knowing when your edge is most likely to present itself. So for me, my edge most likely presents itself throughout London or New York. I know that my edge, my entry model, will be presented either London or New York. So I know when to actually look at the charts. So as part of building your strategy, you need to understand when to be at the charts. You need to know when to actually be looking, analyzing the markets for your specific entry model. And all of these things I've just gone through, they make up a strategy. And when you have clarity on your system, when you know exactly how you need to be trading, your entry model, the rules to taking a trade, all the timeframes you're using, your risk management, the pairs you're trading, the sessions you're trading, so when you need to actually be at the charts, when all of this is crystal clear, it's going to become a lot easier for you to be patient. What you're going to notice is that overtrading will naturally diminish because you know what you're looking for, you know what you're waiting for. You're not just going to jump onto any trade, or you're not just going to hesitate as much. Okay, it's not going to make you perfect. We're not perfect as traders, we're human. You're going to make mistakes. But when you know your system, when you know the process you're following, you have a clear step-by-step checklist, rules, entry confirmations, and everything's written out, it's planned out, you have a process, becoming patient is a lot easier. Overtrading, like I said, naturally diminishes because you know what you're looking for. It's silly to then jump into trades because you know, oh, well, this doesn't actually meet my criteria, so there's going to be more of a conflict in your head, and that awareness of knowing, oh, this trade that I'm potentially looking to enter doesn't actually meet my criteria, because you know your criteria, you're going to become more self-aware and recognize when you're likely to make a mistake, which then goes on to being able to control yourself and control your emotions and impulses in trading. But this is the overall idea and the solution to the problem that you are having. And the problem you are having, the reason why you can't get funded, the reason why you're failing to trade profitably and pass those funded challenges, is because you're overtrading, you're hesitating, you're lacking patience with the charts, you're jumping into every move. And the reason why you're lacking patience is because you're not clear on your strategy. So when you get completely clear on exactly how you need to be trading, your process, everything is dialed in. It doesn't have to be complicated. The simpler the better. That's why I like my supply and demand strategy, because it's fairly straightforward. There's not many moving parts. It's a set process. It's easy to identify when there's an entry. So it makes being patient and actually trading the process and implementing it easy and a lot more straightforward, which again, you can learn for free, link in the top of the description. And so that's what I wanted to talk about in this video. I wanted to highlight that the reason why you're struggling, the reason why that you are lacking patience with the charts and jumping into trades, overtrading, is because maybe you're not clear on exactly how you should be trading the charts. And if you can get and build a solid process that is easy to follow, and you could tell the person next to you exactly how you trade, which is really ideally what the point you want to get to, then it's going to become a lot easier to be patient. You're then going to be able to trade profitably, get funded, and start making payouts. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.